Financial literacy is a crucial skill in our modern world, yet it's often overlooked in traditional education. While schools are gradually incorporating more financial education, many of us who have already completed our schooling miss out on this vital knowledge. Fortunately, the abundance of blogs, podcasts, YouTube channels, and other media platforms provide accessible avenues for learning about finance beyond the classroom. In today's discussion, I'll highlight the immense impact that financial literacy can have on your life and why it's essential to seek out this knowledge. Financial literacy refers to how well you understand and handle money. It's about having the knowledge and skills to make smart choices with your cash. Basically, it's being able to figure out what money moves will help you reach your goals and having the ability to act on that info. So, how do you become financially savvy? If school didn't cover much about money matters, you'll need to take the reins yourself. You can do this by exploring different ideas from lots of different people. Read books, take classes, watch videos, or dive into money-related blogs, just like you're doing now. All of these things can really help your wallet, both now and in the future. They might introduce you to fresh ideas you hadn't thought about before. These ideas could help you save more or earn more money or even uncover new interests. These resources can also give you a sense of security during tough times, reminding you that things will get better. They're great for giving you a boost when times are good too, keeping you excited about reaching your goals. And especially if you didn't learn much about money growing up, they can open your eyes to all sorts of new possibilities. They can spark your curiosity about money and what you can achieve in your life using your own resources. Let's talk about how much money the typical American spends in a year. These numbers are based on some averages collected by a group called the Bureau of Labor Statistics. First off, housing is the biggest expense for most people, costing about $20,000 a year on average. That covers things like paying for a place to live, whether it's renting an apartment or paying a mortgage for a house, as well as bills for things like electricity and water. Then there's transportation, which costs around $9,000 a year. This includes things like gas for your car, getting it fixed if it breaks, taking buses or trains, and even buying plane tickets sometimes. Food is a big one too, costing around $4,000 a year. And if you like eating out at restaurants, add another $3,150 to that. Healthcare is important, but can be expensive, averaging about $4,600 a year. This includes things like going to the doctor, buying medicine, and paying for health insurance. For personal stuff like clothes and looking after yourself, it's about $2,500 a year. And when it comes to having fun, entertainment costs add up to almost $3,000 a year. That's things like cable TV, going to concerts or movies, and paying for streaming services. Then there are insurance costs. They can vary a lot, but roughly renters pay about $180, $200 a year, while homeowners pay around $1,000. $1,100. Life insurance can be around $2,000 a year or more, depending on the type. Lastly, people spend about $2,000 on giving and $1,000 on random things that don't fit into other categories. Let's dive into a scenario involving two high school graduate couples gearing up for college. Both couples start with zero debt and plan to work throughout the summer. They'll earn $12 per hour from their jobs, maintaining a household income of $60,000 annually after graduation. Now, when it comes to cars, the first couple opts for new ones every 7 years, while the second couple goes for used cars. The first couple is fortunate to receive a full down payment as a gift from their parents for their homes, while the second couple needs to save up for their down payment. Both couples aim to save enough money to buy their next car outright, but this isn't always feasible. The second couple's down payment savings will earn 2.5% interest, and any extra money will be invested, earning an 8% interest rate. There's also a dollar-for-dollar match for the first $1,800 invested yearly, roughly 3% of their salaries. The net worth of each couple is determined by their savings and investments, excluding home values. Let's dive into an example to understand how financial knowledge can impact our lives. Meet Bill and Mary, high school graduates looking to attend college. They work over the summer and part-time during the school year, earning $12 per hour. Their combined annual income is $31,200 while studying. Post-graduation, Bill and Mary secure jobs paying $30,000 each, making their household income $60,000 per year. They opt for in-state universities, costing them $25,000 annually, including tuition, fees, and books. Additional living expenses, including food, transportation, and occasional entertainment, amount to just over $60,000 a year. Unfortunately, after 4 years, Bill and Mary find themselves burdened with over $100,000 in student loans, accruing 4.5% interest. Their monthly loan payments surpass $1,000. Upon entering the workforce, their budget mirrors the average American's, with $20,000 for housing, $9,000 on transportation, $4,600 for healthcare, $2,500 on clothing and personal care, a little over $7,000 for food and dining, and about $1,000 for miscellaneous expenses. They end up spending everything they earn. Bill and Mary start their adult life with work and college plans. They earn $10,000 each summer and $31,200 yearly while studying. After graduating, they get jobs paying $30,000 each, making $60,000 as a household. Their 4-year in-state college costs about $25,000 per year, and they spend around $60,000 annually during school on everything, including food, transportation, and fun. After graduation, they face hefty student debt, over $100,000. With a 4.5% interest rate, they owe over $1,000 monthly. Their post-grad budget mirrors the average American's: $20,000 for housing, $9,000 on transportation, $4,600 for healthcare, $2,500 on clothes and personal care, over $7,000 on food and dining, and $1,000 on various expenses, using up all their income. Their insurance costs about $6,000 yearly, covering whole life, home ownership, and car insurance. They can't spare money for charity, savings, or investments due to high expenses. Entertainment expenses become nil to manage their debt. At 33, they clear their student loans, reducing annual expenses to $50,500, allowing a slight increase in entertainment costs to around $3,000 yearly. By 53, they finish paying off their home, slashing housing expenses to approximately $39,750 yearly. After 40 years, their home is fully paid for, they own their cars, and their net worth reaches $75,000. The house, purchased with parental help, could be worth $820,000 today if growing at a 3% yearly rate. Their total wealth sums up to $895,000 due to savings, investments, and home value despite early financial struggles. John and Jane are like Bill and Mary, but they make different choices based on what they learned about managing money. Bill and Mary went directly to a 4-year university after high school, while John and Jane chose a cheaper option by starting at a community college for the first 2 years. Community college costs less, about $4,800 per year according to Value Penguin. After that, they moved to a 4-year university, paying the same $25,000 each year, just like Bill and Mary did. In total, their education cost them around $120,000, way less than the $200,000 that Bill and Mary spent. If John and Jane's everyday expenses and incomes were similar to Bill and Mary's, they'd graduate with roughly $20,000 in student loans. But here's where the second difference shows up. John and Jane realized their salaries wouldn't cover all their college expenses. So they started learning about making extra money without a regular job. They found a side gig, flipping items for profit on platforms like Facebook Marketplace. This hustle earns them about $12,000, and since it doesn't take too much time, they decide to keep doing it even after they graduate. When John and Jane start working, they each earn $30,000 per year, just like Bill and Mary, totaling $60,000 household income. But because of their side hustle, they make a combined $72,000 each year. However, the differences between John and Jane's work life and Bill and Mary's don't end there. John and Jane want to be really good with their money while they're young. They think it's smart to make their money grow faster by using something called compounding interest. They also want to spend their money on things that really matter to them. So, they decide not to rush into buying a house after they finish college. They don't have enough saved up yet, but they still want to save on where they live. They team up with roommates to share an apartment. Normally, people in the US pay around $1,200 a month for an apartment like theirs, but splitting the cost with roommates makes their share just $800 a month. That's about $10,000 less than what most people spend on housing every year. To save money on getting around, they buy one used car together and pay for it all at once, instead of buying two cars. This means they need to share rides to work, but they're okay with that for now. It actually helps them in a few ways. They only have one car to take care of, which means fewer repairs and less money spent on insurance. Most American families have almost 3 cars, so John and Jane think they can cut their transportation costs in half by doing this. They figure they'll buy another car later when they can afford it. For now, sharing one car helps them save money and makes things simpler. John and Jane have found a few clever ways to keep more money in their pockets compared to Bill and Mary. They've made smart moves with insurance and transportation, saving about $5,000 more every year. Instead of eating out frequently like many people do, they limit those expenses and spend around $5,000 on food yearly, including groceries. Most of the money they save goes into investments, but they also put some into savings and other needs. They plan carefully for big expenses, setting aside $20,000 every 7 years for new cars and aiming for a $60,000 down payment on a future $300,000 home. They'll buy this house when they're around 27, as that's when they'll have saved enough for the down payment. To help with housing costs, they'll rent out extra rooms, bringing in about $500 each month. They have a budget for entertainment, spending about $1,700 a year on it, and they give $2,000 to causes they care about. Another $2,000 a year goes into their kids' college fund, starting from their child's birth until they turn 18. They're planning to invest this money in an account that lets their child use it for college without paying taxes. Assuming their child is born the year they move into their new home, the plan remains the same as Bill and Mary's in other aspects. John and Jane are strategic with their money, making choices that give them more control over their expenses and savings. They're preparing for their future by managing their finances wisely and making thoughtful decisions about where their money goes. John and Jane are a couple who've made some smart money choices. By the time they hit 43, they'll have paid off their home, saving them about $20,400 each year. Plus, their kid will graduate high school with $80,000 in college savings, meaning they don't need to save more, saving another $2,000 annually. Fast forward 40 years from their high school graduation, and they've got a house worth $728,000, originally bought for $300,000. Their savings, investments, and home add up to $5,228,000. That's over 5 times more than what Bill and Mary ended up with. John and Jane are all set for a cushy retirement. With their $4.5 million, they could have a $180,000 yearly income following the 4% rule. It's a prime example of how crucial it is to understand money matters. That's why I, along with many others online, love teaching financial literacy. In America, we're fortunate. Even if we didn't make perfect choices or started saving late, we can still live comfortably. But the real opportunity lies in shaping an extraordinary life now and in the future by mastering money management. Understanding finances can truly change lives. It's like having a roadmap to build a secure future. If you're interested in learning more about managing money wisely, hit the subscribe button below. Join the channel for more tips and insights on making the most out of your finances.